Today I want to share a story because I saw Ted Kunchoks video of this unfortunate person who has been going through a lot in her life in exile. And I really felt like she needed some support. So I guess this is just my attempt to share, like, we've all been there in a way, even though I haven't tried like the stuff that she's been on, but like in a way I could relate to her story because like it is a very difficult position to be in, because as like a female or a woman in Asia, there's a lot of patriarchal norms, etc. And we don't always have the support that we need, right, Daphne? Daphne says yes. So back in the day, I was working at a Desi restaurant in America. And for some reason, it was called a certain name. And then the manager was from Pakistan. So as you could already sense, it was like not a very enjoyable work environment because there was like a lot of international tensions going on inside the restaurant. And during those few months, I actually lost weight. And at that time, the only person who was there for me in a way was this person who is from Himachal. His name is Bobby, or he might go by other names as well, but at that time he introduced himself as Bobby. And when I came back from that job, I finally realized that, oh, this person knows that I've lost weight and it is because of this job. But then besides this person, actually no one at the time really cared. And I guess it was for the better because now I have Daphne. And I could face that time with more courage, because I also found out that my friend who was helping me, providing me with support, is actually a husband. And I wish them all the best. And for some reason, I think her account somehow could have knew of my account's existence, or like the fact that her partner had multiple accounts. I don't know about that, and I'm probably not going to reach out to her. But like, if this video finds its way to Himachal, I just want to say I thank you guys so much for like all the support. And it's really not easy this time. It's not easy to say the least, because not everyone knows what tantra is and what could happen when some groups think together and then they try to target a different group through this system. And I could have easily been eliminated. But fortunately, India wins. That's the upside of all this international conflict, as you could see throughout. Whenever any person tries to send for them, the collective comes back. There's like some kind of access that holds all the different spirits together, right? It's not just human beings, but also like Pret, Bhut, Pishach. These entities and Devi, Devtas, they're all somehow in this complex interplay. And I was just thinking of that amazing picture where the Devtas and the Asuras are pulling against each other. And at that time, I was hardcore Shaiva, in addition to practicing other things of the Asian religions. And so meeting Bobby was also like a revelation, like, oh, you could have a very supportive family, but then you still wanted more in your life because you felt like the daily routine wasn't what was most fulfilling in a way. And so when they got their first car, he actually shared it and then tagged me, and that was his way of showing like, you can be part of this. And then he also invited me to visit the city where he lives. And I feel like somehow that invitation is still open, even though I may not, actually become part of his family. But then that invitation at the time when I was going through that like restaurant drama stuff, like kitchen nightmares, it really gave me some confidence, like, oh, I have a way out of this. Because at the time I was thinking, what if some Tibetan refugee ended up in this situation and she couldn't negotiate for herself because there's not a lot of unions, I guess, for these situations. And also huge shout out to my mom, because she was also supporting me through this. If I was actually just going at it by myself, I probably would have felt much worse. But yeah, thanks to the friends, and it was a huge triangulation, or I don't know, quadruple, five-way pentagon. I was thinking the other day, north, south, east, west are 4 directions, but then America has the Pentagon. Probably has some esoteric meanings. Anyways, I wish every family all the best. I am so happy with Daphne, my sweet child. So yeah, as not Sonam, I keep confusing Sonam, who is the Tibetan person I met in Himachal, with Lama Tenzin, who is Lama who teaches Dharma at GBI in Arizona. Lama Tenzin recently said if couples wanted a child, they could pray to Mother Tara. And I think because of my practice, at the time I was also practicing Green Tara, I found Daphne. She's 5 years old, and she likes wet and dry food, and we live in the United States. So final words for the woman who was in Ted Kunchoks' video. I really hope you have a great recovery and the rehab place looks nice. And if you need anything, you could leave a comment and I'll try to see what I can do. Daphne, is that right? Sometimes it's also useful to talk about events as they're experienced, not just how you perceive it in your subjectivity. Because music processes things like on a more subtle level, whereas if you try to reach people through language, it's on a different level, as I guess a lot of you know anyways. Yeah, Bobby was probably on some substances as well, but because he was so good at operating multiple accounts and like, yeah, that's the other thing, time management. That's the new term for people who do these things. I don't think his family knew. Maybe I was the only person who knew, but then I would ask him, why are your eyes red? Why do you look like you're crying even though you're not? And I think he would just lie about it. I wish he could have been more transparent, but I also really appreciated his, as I said, support through my factional dispute and generally just getting the shorter end in a lot of cases. He was a good listener whenever I had any like actual things I wanted to share other than the job, because I felt like, you know, he was gonna get punished too for being, you know, on my side. So then I did not actually contact him while I was working. But fortunately for us now, everything's cleared up. So even if I would, you know, bring one friend or partner to visit them one day in person, I think it would be fine. Let's hope.